If you're looking for some straight up marketing advice that's super chilled and also a bit of a laugh, then grab yourself a drink and get ready for Marketing and Margaritas, a podcast that makes marketing entertaining. Brought to you by Rebel Nation, direct from regional Queensland.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Margaritas. So on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to get the most from your marketing retainer. So for those of you who don't know, a retainer is paying a flat monthly fee to a service provider who in return will provide you with a set amount of hours and some special treatment and value adds along the way for being a retainer client. So for example, Rebel retainers are on a discounted rate, and we find that because we work with them every single month, like the whole team will work on every retainer client, they're more on our mind and they're part of our business. So we tend to be more aware of opportunities that might suit them or see potential issues to fix because we're working on their stuff every single month. For us, that retainer relationship, and I know that this is the same, like, you know, for me, I've had retainers with other service providers as well for myself. In our world, it's like they become a staff member almost. So it's like we actually become someone's in-house marketing manager, except we're a team of people. Like anything, it has its pros and cons. So, you know, it's that, you know, you get all of these skills and stuff for, like, instead of paying a wage for all of those different skills, you pay one amount and you get a whole range of skills, and obviously that amount is often quite less than a wage. But you know, the cons are that you do need to pay it every month. But then a pro is that for cash flow, you know, you've got this each month. And you know, it's like I said, there are pros and cons. So anyway, today I'm actually going to be talking about getting the most from your marketing retainer. So if you've got one or you're thinking about one, here's what I encourage you to do. Firstly is to stay engaged and communicate on the regular. The more we can collaborate with you, the better the results will be. And I've found this when I've been the one who has a retainer with another service provider as well. I find that the more involved in stuff I am, especially at the start, first of all, the results come much faster, but it's also the sooner that I can actually step back and let the other person take over so I don't have to be as onto it. So like I said, you know, in our world, it is that when we have a retainer client, you know, if we collaborate with them really strongly at the start and we kind of download everything we can about their business and what they want to achieve and their ideas and plans for future and all this kind of stuff, and then we start enacting some things for them and get a feel for what they do and don't like, etc., then obviously the results come a lot faster, but it also means that they can, like I said, treat us like that in-house marketing manager, and they can start to step back sooner. This also includes getting feedback on jobs. The quicker we get the feedback, especially at the start, the sooner we can understand what you're trying to achieve and then give our own recommendations to really supercharge your ideas. So, you know, at the start, we will provide, you know, for any client a certain level of our personal, like our professional recommendations and advice, but it's the more that we get from you and work with you in that period, and again, the quicker the feedback is, the sooner we can get to that point where we're then like, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe if you did this and this, it would actually like make that even better. Or that's one way of doing it, but we've got this free app that can do it for you. Maybe that's something, you know what I mean? So we can enhance and recommend things to you as well, but we can enhance your ideas to actually make things happen for your business. And honestly, you know, I can always make a recommendation to someone. So obviously I've been in marketing for donkey's years. And I'm sure it's the same in your industry as well. The more I get to know a client and work with them, the more I understand who they are and what they're about, the more I can recommend things that would actually make a difference and suit them and what they're trying to achieve. I love the clients who we are so versed in their business goals and their brand that we can actually vet opportunities for them and streamline things like proofing and processes or whatever. You know, so it's sort of like if I really understand the business and what they're about, then when we get contacted, or there's a great billboard offer, or Google's offering a $500 credit for this, or Google, whatever, when opportunities come up, we can go, yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to let them know because that'll feed into this, or no, that's not what we need right now. It's just going to cloud things. And so we can actually take some of that burden of having to make those continuous decisions off the business as well. And like I said, we basically end up being like another staff member. My second tip is to leverage the agency advantage. So what I mean is you have a whole team of people. Not only does that mean that you have a wide skill set to call on, but they can also do things that you don't want to. So for example, if you hate trying to get photos of your team on work sites or at social functions, no problems, get your agency onto it. If you're not sure where to start with your marketing data, hello my agency friends, please review my data, but also give me useful insights that I can action. Or better yet, referring to point one, please action them for me. So a retainer gives you access to all of these different skills and people who have the time, expertise, and willingness to do what needs to be done to move your marketing forward to get your business where you want it to be. Plus, they probably actually find it fun to do those things. So while you might stress and agonize over social media posts, they're actually having a fat old time doing it. So, it's just, I guess it's that opportunity to call on other people's expertise, and but it's also the fact that when someone enjoys what they're doing, you can really tell. So if you are putting out content and stuff yourself, more power to you, well done, congratulations. But also, if you're having a hard time with it, that can potentially mean that you're not doing the best job possible. And I think this is especially true for the data part as well. We all know that we should be using our business data more, but who has the time? Your agency, that's who has the time, because it's their very literal job to do it. And one last thing here, this might be obvious, but just in case it's not, you should be leaning on your marketing retainer super heavily for strategy as well. So they're not just your yes men, they're not just there to activate things for you. They should also be, looking at data, coming up with insights, strategizing, knowing different platforms and tech and opportunities and etc. that you might not even be aware of, and bringing that to the table. You feed in what goals you want to achieve for the business, and then they can help guide the strategy to get you there. And it's not then only their help with that strategic planning. Planning is only part of the picture. It's also then their job to push it forward. And this just gets easier and easier the longer you work together as well. So at the start, you might not get all of that straight up with a retainer, but that's what you want to build to. My third tip is to make use of the learning opportunity. So building what I said about using your data, you can go even further and get proactive about learning what works for your marketing, i.e. A/B testing. So A/B testing is basically when you're like, okay, I'll give a really simple example. We're going to do this ad, and this image is really cool, and we think it'll work really well, but we've also got this video, and this video is really cool and could work really well. So A/B testing is when you put both of them out into the marketplace, see which one performs better, and then you put the rest of your budget behind the one that's got proven performance for you, like the better ROI. That A/B testing can happen with the creative, so wording, headlines, calls to action, buttons. It can happen with the visuals, so not just what format, like whether it's photo, video, or whatever, but it's also like maybe you have products, and so you've got photos of the people using the product, and then you've got photos of just the product itself, like which one is going to appeal to people more, etc. A/B testing your landing pages, your ads, different ad channels, different social media platforms. A/B testing can apply to so many different things. And when you're working, if you're doing something yourself, quite often people don't have the time to really do that kind of A/B testing. It's quite labor intensive at the start, but it just pays off so much in the future. And then even if you're working with a marketing person, like freelancer, agency, whatever, sole trader, all that kind of thing, is that when they are working for you, quite often you're just paying them to do the job. Like it's paying them to go, oh, we have a billboard ad, or we want a meta ad, or we need this campaign or whatever. A/B testing is not something that's really built into those things. Whereas when you have a retainer, you can actually then do that testing to, it's more labor intensive, but they can do it and they can understand the results. They can feed that information back to you. And in the long run, you'll learn more and more about what works for you and your business, whether it's, the creative element, the channels, when to go live, all these kind of things, these details that we can test. And then also, if you have an agency, like a lot of agencies are like ours, I'm pretty I would assume so, where you can also be doing training with them. So if you're wanting to learn more about marketing yourself, especially as it relates to what does and doesn't work specifically for your business, so not just generic training that you can get from anyone or get free from Google or whatever, but if you want training on, okay, we've been doing this is what works for your business, we're now going to train you in how you can do it, that's another thing that can go on your retainer as well. And fair enough if you don't want to learn, but maybe you have an admin person who might be interested in learning about socials, for example. So your marketing people get your socials up and running, get them banging, they know it works, it's all great. They can then do training with your in-house team, upskill them, and then they're the ones, they can do that, be creating that content, etc., but still have that oversight from the professionals as well. So you're upskilling your team, but you're still it's working for your business, and it's just a really good mix. So my wrap-up tip today, I wasn't going to add this originally because I thought it would be a given, but it's been pointed out to me that it's not. So my wrap-up tip is to make sure your agency is accountable. So apparently that's not something that just everyone does, and I don't mean just for marketing agencies, like retainers in general can be not as transparent sometimes. For example, the way we run it is we track all of our time and we manage our retainer hours every week with a look to the whole month. So if hours are getting low, then we can plan out what really needs to be done so that we don't go over. So for example, we've just hit week 3 of this month and we have a couple who are about to bust their retainer. So like going to the team, okay, cool, what does client X definitely need to happen this month so that we can do that, and then the projects will get picked up again next month, and that way we're kind of managing our time within their hours. We can also plan out what to do if we have more hours left over than we thought. So if we're getting to that week 3 point and we're like, okay, actually, we've still got half their retainer hours to do. Perfect. Let's fast track this thing because, we know that it's going to be stressful and crazy in a couple of months. If we do the prep work now, then that means we won't go over retainer hours, and that, you know what I mean? So you can kind of by checking in we do our timesheets every day, we check them every week. That way we can be planning those hours strategically, and we keep the client looped in on that planning as well. So then they can agree or they can redirect as needed, So again, we can take that burden responsibility off them where we're like, okay, this is important, we'll finish these out. They might be like, oh no, actually we do need this, but that's not important right now, we'll put that on hold. Because you're always going to know your business better than us as well. I think it's even though I always see that retainer relationship as us being someone's marketing manager, we're not actually their marketing manager, and therefore we should be super accountable to you. Actually, I guess even your marketing manager should be, everyone should be super accountable all the time to everyone. And I just want to give a special shout out to our Rebel retainer clients because it's my podcast. We really appreciate your trust and hope you enjoy working with us in the same way that we enjoy working with you. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Marketing and Margaritas. Find more free marketing tips, tricks and laughs at rebelnation.com.au.